Liam Thorne stepped out of his truck and stared at the weathered farmhouse. It looked exactly as he remembered, peeling paint, slanted roof, and the same eerie silence that used to unsettle him as a kid. His uncle had died 2 months ago, and the house had sat untouched ever since. Now, it belonged to him. The wind whispered through the trees, bending the tall grass as if warning him not to return. He ignored it and walked toward the barn. The house could wait. Something about the old structure always drew his attention. The red paint had faded to rust, and one of the double doors hung loosely from its hinges. Inside, the scent of oil and dust filled his lungs. Sunlight spilled through the broken slats above, casting fractured beams across forgotten tools, rusty machines, and scattered boxes. He kicked aside a tarp and uncovered a strange sealed hatch bolted into the concrete floor. Liam knelt, brushing off dirt. No visible lock, just a round metallic indentation at the center. His fingers traced the edge, cold and perfectly smooth. When he pressed his palm against it, the hatch vibrated faintly. Then, click. A hiss escaped from its edge as it slowly opened. Below was darkness. A metal ladder descended into it. He hesitated for only a moment before pulling out his flashlight. 1 foot down, then another. The air grew colder with each step, heavy with an unfamiliar scent, like burnt ozone mixed with metal. At the bottom, he stepped into a narrow corridor lined with panels he didn't recognize. The walls pulsed faintly with blue light as though the place breathed. This was no ordinary fallout shelter. This was something else. At the end of the corridor was a chamber. In its center floated a large glass orb, suspended above a circular platform. Inside it, curled like a sleeping child, was a girl. Her hair floated around her like strands of ink in water. Her skin glowed faintly silver under the orb's inner light. She didn't look dead, but she didn't look human either. Liam approached, heart hammering. His flashlight flickered and died. The platform beneath the orb lit up, scanning the room. Symbols flashed across the walls, none he could understand. He backed away, reaching for his phone. No signal, no escape. Then the orb pulsed. A thread of energy lashed out, slicing across his palm. He gasped, stumbling. Blood dripped to the floor. The orb reacted instantly, drawing the blood into itself, absorbing it. Cracks spread across its surface, thin as spider webs. A deep hum filled the room, growing louder, vibrating through his bones. He watched, frozen, as the glass splintered. The girl inside opened her eyes. They weren't eyes made for Earth. Irises like shifting galaxies, pupils vertical and luminous. She stared at him, not with fear, but with recognition. "You came," she said, her voice soft, melodic, and echoing slightly, as if layered through time. Liam couldn't speak. She floated down as the orb dissolved around her. Bare feet touched the ground without sound. Her gaze stayed locked on his. No tremble in her stance, no hesitation, as if she had waited lifetimes for this exact moment. He stepped back, uncertain. She tilted her head. "Why do you look afraid?" He struggled to find words. "Who are you?" She smiled, not kindly, not cruelly, but knowingly. "I am what they left behind. And you're the one they chose to wake me." He didn't understand what that meant, but the chill crawling up his spine told him he was now part of something far beyond his grasp. From above, faint footsteps echoed. Someone, or something, was moving in the barn. He looked at her. She looked at the ceiling. "They're coming," she whispered. Then she took his hand, and everything changed. Liam's pulse thudded in his ears as the girl's hand tightened around his. Her touch was strange, neither cold nor warm, but charged with something unexplainable. It wasn't electricity, but it tingled against his skin as though his nerves recognized her before his mind could. Above them, the creaking of old wood turned into sharper, deliberate footsteps. Whoever, or whatever, was up there, wasn't wandering. They were searching. The girl closed her eyes, and the lights along the corridor dimmed. The humming machinery sank into silence. She turned her head slightly, listening, her expression calm, though her body remained tense like a coiled spring. "We don't have much time," she said. Liam looked up the ladder. "We should leave." "No," she replied. "Up there is more dangerous than down here." He stared at her, caught between fear and confusion. "Then what are they?" "They're remnants of the system that imprisoned me," she answered. "Guardians without thought, hunters without mercy. They'll destroy anything that disrupts the balance they were built to maintain." She released his hand and moved toward the wall. With a wave of her fingers, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a dimly lit tunnel sloping deeper into the earth. The walls shimmered faintly, etched with symbols that pulsed like veins of light. "Come," she said. "I'll explain as we walk." With no other option, Liam followed. The air grew denser the farther they went, thick with ancient secrets and mechanical breath. The tunnel curved in spirals like it had been grown rather than built. The floor vibrated with a low, steady rhythm, and above them muffled thuds echoed like distant thunder. "They were called the Sentinels," she began. "Not alive in the way you are, but not dead either. They operate by instruction. One command: prevent the breach." "Breach?" Liam asked, dodging a hanging wire that sparked as they passed. "My awakening," she said. "They don't understand why I was placed here, only that I should remain contained." "Who put you here?" She hesitated. "Your ancestors." He frowned. "You mean humans?" "Yes," she said softly. "Long ago, before your records began, when Earth was still connected to the outer gates." "Outer gates," he repeated, his voice barely louder than a whisper. "Doorways," she said, "between worlds, between dimensions." Liam paused, letting her words settle. The girl didn't seem to be lying, but everything she said bent the rules of logic he had lived by. The idea that ancient humans imprisoned something like her in a facility buried under a Midwestern farm made his head ache. "And you?" he asked. "What are you really?" She stopped walking and turned to him. In the tunnel's glowing light, her face looked impossibly delicate, alien, yet hauntingly familiar. "I was a bridge," she said, "a link between species, a guardian of peace. But when fear took hold, they chose walls over understanding. So they built prisons, and they sealed me in one." "But why would they pick me to wake you up?" Liam asked, his voice hoarse. She smiled gently. "Bloodlines carry more than memory. You carry a spark of the ones who stood against the ceiling. A hidden legacy. That's why the orb accepted your blood." He didn't know how to respond. All his life he had been ordinary, a technician, a fixer of broken machines, not a chosen anything. Suddenly a siren wailed behind them, loud, sharp, and rising. "They've broken through the hatch," she said, her voice calm but hurried. "They'll chase us until we reach the core. From there I can stop them, but we must hurry." They ran. The tunnel stretched ahead endlessly. Lights surged to life as they moved, guiding them forward like veins awakening after a long slumber. Behind them, metallic footsteps rang out, rhythmic and tireless. Liam glanced back once and caught a glimpse. Tall figures in armor-like exoskeletons, eyes glowing white, limbs jointed with exposed gears. Their movement was smooth, but there was no mistaking the violence in their design. A sudden blast of wind knocked him off balance. The girl caught his arm, pulling him forward. Another door opened in the wall ahead. Larger than the last, its surface carved with spirals and constellations. They slipped inside just as it slammed shut behind them. The humming silence returned. They stood in a chamber unlike any before. The ceiling arched high above, forming a perfect dome of black stone. At its center floated a crystalline structure pulsing with golden light. Streams of data flowed through. The air forming symbols that flickered out as quickly as they appeared. "This is the heart of the gate," she whispered, "and where we decide whether your world opens again or stays sealed forever." Liam stepped closer to the core, his reflection bending within the light. Behind him, the sentinels pounded against the door, and the choice waited, glowing in silence. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he stood beneath the black stone dome, staring at the floating crystal. Its radiant glow cast long, shifting shadows across the chamber walls, giving life to carvings too intricate to be human. The air buzzed faintly, alive with invisible current, as if every molecule held ancient intention. The girl approached the core with reverence. Her fingers moved in the air, tracing symbols he couldn't see, and the structure responded with pulses of soft gold. The patterns danced through the chamber, weaving stories from languages long buried. Liam watched, transfixed, as the glowing filaments curled into the shapes of cities suspended in the sky, creatures with wings of light, and ships cutting through. Stars. "It remembers everything," she said without turning. "Even the last time this world tried to open." Liam took a hesitant step forward, still trying to comprehend the scale of what he had stumbled into. The guardians, the ancient, seals, the gate. It felt too large, too purposeful to be a coincidence. Yet here he was, guided by something in his blood, standing in a place no living person had seen in generations. "What happens if it opens again?" he asked. She faced him. Her eyes, no longer entirely human, shimmered with stardust. "Possibilities. Awaken. Some beautiful, others catastrophic." He swallowed hard. "Then why are we here?" "Because the seal is weakening," she replied. "Even without you, the world is shifting, and when the balance breaks, the gates do not open slowly. They explode." The sound of the sentinel slamming against the door returned, louder now. Cracks formed at its edges, glowing with the same light as the orb in Liam's hand. "They won't stop until this place is ashes," she said. "Their directive won't allow compromise." He turned to her. "Then stop them." "I need your permission," she answered. "This chamber was sealed with your ancestors' will. Only one of their blood can release the override." He stared at the core, his fingers tingled just looking at it. "You want me to unlock something even your jailers were afraid of?" She didn't flinch. "I want you to choose understanding over fear." The idea terrified him more than anything else. One wrong move could break a hole through reality itself, and yet somehow he trusted her. A long crack burst across the door, and a deafening bang echoed through the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling. Liam walked to the crystal. It pulsed brighter as he approached, the orb in his pocket growing warm. As he reached out, something deeper than memory stirred inside him, a vision of stars falling, a voice that sounded like thunder wrapped in silk, a war long forgotten. His hand met the crystal. The orb in his pocket shattered. Light erupted from the core, rising in spirals that wrapped around them. The chamber shook violently. Behind them, the door finally gave way. Sentinels poured in, but they stopped mid-step, frozen as the light touched their metallic shells. Their limbs locked, eyes dimmed, and one by one they collapsed like discarded puppets. Silence followed. Liam looked around, stunned. The chamber had changed. Walls now shimmered with active energy, and a new passage opened where there had been solid stone. The girl walked to him, her face unreadable. "You didn't just unlock a gate," she said. "You altered the Sentinel's code. They obey peace now." He exhaled slowly. "What's on the other side of that path?" "A connection," she replied. "To what humanity abandoned long ago. To the truth buried beneath fear." Liam hesitated, torn between awe and caution. "Will we survive it?" She smiled, and for a moment, her features softened into something almost fragile. "That depends on what you choose to do next." They moved toward the new path. It led upward, a ramp carved into spiraling stone, pulsing softly under their steps. The farther they climbed, the lighter the air became, as though the walls breathed. With them, symbols lit the way, glowing brighter each time Liam passed. Near the top, they reached a circular balcony. Beyond it stretched a sky unlike anything Liam had seen. Stars moved too quickly, streaks of blue and red cutting through endless black. Floating platforms orbited distant towers, and bridges of light connected drifting continents. It was not Earth, but it wasn't entirely alien either. "This is the threshold," she said. "Beyond this point, the rules of your world don't apply. Gravity shifts, time bends, thought creates." Liam looked at her, heart pounding. "Why bring me here?" "Because you still dream," she said. "Your kind forgot how, but your spark reignited the possibility." He turned back to the view. The weight of choice pressed heavy on his shoulders. Return to a world that would never believe him, or step forward and reshape everything known. She extended her hand again. This time he didn't hesitate. Fingers clasped, feet crossed the line, and Earth, sleeping above, remained unaware that its gates were no longer closed. Liam stepped onto the shifting bridge of light, its surface rippling beneath his weight like liquid glass suspended in the sky. The girl followed without hesitation, her bare feet making no sound. Above them, stars spiraled in slow arcs, their positions shifting in ways no telescope could explain. Every movement forward pulled Liam further from what he had known, yet he didn't feel fear, only a widening sense of awe. They crossed toward a tower that defied shape. Its structure stretched infinitely yet cast no shadow. Geometric forms rotated through its surface, changing with each blink. As they reached its base, a circular gateway unfolded like petals in bloom. With a low hum, it allowed them through. Inside, the air felt alive. The chamber walls thrummed with layered whispers, voices not from mouths but memories. Symbols floated in mid-air, arranging themselves into maps, algorithms, poems, and choices. Liam's pulse quickened as the symbols began to respond to his thoughts. One spark of curiosity summoned a visual of Earth's tectonic evolution. Another conjured an ancient ritual performed by a species that no longer existed. "This place adapts to you," she said softly. "It was built to amplify thought into creation. In the wrong hands, it would burn entire systems." Liam moved, slowly, hands by his side, every step weighed with responsibility. He stopped before a pedestal where a shard of black crystal hovered. Its surface flickered with scenes, cities submerged beneath ice, children building machines from stone, planets, screaming silently as they died. One image lingered longer. His own face, older, standing atop a hill of ash. He turned away. "They saw what could become," he murmured. "They feared what already was," she corrected. "That fear built the sentinels." An alert flared at the edge of the room. A projection appeared, not summoned by him this time. It showed Earth. Fires bloomed across several regions. Oceans surged unnaturally high, and magnetic fields pulsed erratically. The planet looked unstable, like a system overloaded and ready to collapse. "This isn't just about you anymore," she said. "Your awakening triggered ripple effects. The core's memory is bleeding into Earth's consciousness." Liam's throat went dry. "People are seeing it?" "In fragments," she confirmed. "Dreams, static in machines, erratic behavior. The world doesn't know why it's shifting, but it is." He looked at her, realization tightening his chest. "They'll blame each other. They already are." The chamber darkened, responding to the grim possibilities. Even here, shielded by alien architecture and light that bent around truth, the threat of human fragility remained. Liam clenched his fists. "There has to be a way to stabilize it." She nodded. "There is. but it means revealing what was hidden and surrendering control. A panel slid open in the floor, revealing a sphere of pure energy. It pulsed with a heartbeat that matched Liam's. The girl approached it with reverence, kneeling as ancient symbols hovered above the surface. "This can reconnect Earth to the lattice," she explained. "It will restore balance, but the cost is identity. Humanity will remember everything it forgot, past wars, alliances with species long gone, mistakes etched into planetary memory." Liam stepped closer. "They won't believe it." "They won't have a choice," she replied. "The truth will override denial." He stared into the sphere. Visions surged toward him. Forgotten languages, faces carved in starlight, machines built from sound and light. He felt every moment as if it were his own, eons compressed into seconds. The weight of civilizations passed through him, pressing into his mind like a tidal wave of lost potential. He staggered back. She caught him before he fell. "It's too much," he gasped. "You're not supposed to carry it alone," she said. "That's why the system was meant to awaken more than one." He met her gaze. "Then where are the others?" She hesitated. "Scattered, buried in bloodlines, some asleep, some silenced." Liam looked toward the image of Earth again. Storms moved like serpents across continents. Satellites blinked out of orbit. Signals pulsed from deep within the ocean. Earth was changing, responding to a signal its people didn't know how to decode. "I'll activate it," he said at last. Her expression turned solemn. "Then there's no going back." "I don't want to go back," he whispered. "Not if everything ahead matters more." He placed his hand over the sphere. Light surged upward, wrapping around him in spirals of white and gold. A deep note sounded in the air, low, resonant, pure. The chamber began to vibrate, and the walls peeled away like layers of illusion. For the first time, Liam saw what had always been hidden. The tower sat at the center of a web connecting worlds. Energy threads stretched through stars, binding solar systems with invisible strands. At the center, Earth glowed like a heart exposed, vulnerable and vast. As the light touched it, pulses of memory flowed into the atmosphere. Across the planet, people stopped mid-motion. Children dropped toys. Soldiers lowered weapons. Scientists gasped as machines displayed languages no one had programmed. Old symbols appeared in cave walls. Ancient carvings glowed beneath oceans, and dreams grew more vivid than waking. Some rejoiced. Others screamed. Change had come. Liam collapsed to his knees, drained. The girl placed her hand on his shoulder. "You did what?" "No one else dared. You trusted the unknown." Outside the tower, the stars reoriented. Paths opened where there had been walls. The web pulsed stronger than before. Earth, now awakened, began to respond, not with panic, but possibility. Liam rose slowly. His voice was hoarse, but clear. "What happens now?" She looked out at the horizon beyond space. "Now they choose what to become." The silence that followed was not empty. It carried weight, like the air before a thunderstorm, tense and charged. Liam stood at the edge of the tower's platform, watching the threads of energy linking planets ripple with new rhythm. A subtle hum echoed across dimensions, synchronizing distant worlds through ancient pathways rediscovered. Beneath him, Earth glimmered with unfamiliar hues. Cities illuminated in pulses instead of fixed lights. Forests reacted to unseen vibrations, leaves rustling without wind. Oceans churned with purposeful rhythm, no longer passive, but responding, alive in ways no satellite had recorded before. The transformation had begun to integrate. She stood a few paces behind him, her posture still, her eyes closed as though listening to frequencies beyond human hearing. The tower had accepted them, but the greater system, the lattice, remained in flux. The connection restored had not answered all questions. It had only unlocked new doors. Across the United States and elsewhere, people awoke to fractured memories. Names forgotten by history surfaced in whispered conversations. Symbols long dismissed as myths etched themselves into architecture. Dreams became indistinguishable from waking life. Children painted constellations they had never learned. Some called it enlightenment. Others declared it an invasion of thought. Military leaders demanded explanations. Religious figures wept during broadcasts. Satellites transmitted codes they weren't built to understand. The White House issued an emergency communication protocol, but words proved inadequate. Nations scrambled to stabilize social order while physics itself began rewriting its rules. In a research station in Alaska, a geologist found mountain stone humming with heat signatures. In Arizona, a blind woman claimed she could now see music and taste emotions. On the outskirts of Chicago, 6 strangers who had never met spoke the same dream in perfect unison. The awakening had spread, uncontrolled, but not random. Back in the tower, Liam walked toward the central console that now displayed a fluctuating stream of probabilities. Future pathways branched and bent in unpredictable arcs. Some led to flourishing. Civilizations, others to extinction. None were fixed. The sphere pulsed softly at its core, dimmer now, but stable. Its purpose complete. "We need more than hope," Liam said, voice low. "They won't accept change without guidance." She opened her eyes, the glow in her pupils fading to a calm, silver. "Then we must become what they fear most, an answer." "They'll hunt us," he replied. "Governments will call us threats." "Perhaps," she said. "Or maybe they'll finally listen." He laughed bitterly, not from humor, but recognition. Humanity doesn't listen until the sky is falling. She looked at the projection again. It already has. Moments later, a low chime filled the chamber. A portal shimmered into existence, framed by intertwining threads of sound and light. On the other side was Earth, New York City specifically, frozen, mid-moment. Cars paused mid-turn. A dog hung mid-leap. Time had fractured around a point of anomaly. "They're trying to isolate the phenomenon," she noted. "Contain the ripple before it spreads further." Liam exhaled sharply. "They'll fail. It's inside them now. But we can steer it." He nodded once, walked toward the portal. Each step closer brought a wave of images into his mind. Friends he hadn't seen in years, teachers who once shaped him, people he had hurt, people he had loved. All watching. All waiting. Crossing through the portal felt like plunging into warm static. The city was silent, unnatural. Birds hovered mid-flap. A boy on a bicycle remained in perfect suspension. But in the center of the plaza, a woman stared directly at him. She moved. Liam stopped. "You hear it too?" the woman asked. He nodded slowly. She reached into her coat and pulled out a notebook, flipping to a page that displayed a series of intricate shapes. They glowed faintly. "I don't know what these mean, but I've been drawing them since last night." "You're not alone," he said. "There are others." Her eyes widened with a mix of relief and fear. "Then it's real." He glanced upward. The sky swirled subtly, like a hidden current shaping the clouds. "It's more than real, it's old. We just forgot." The woman stepped closer. "Can it be stopped?" "No," Liam replied. "But it can be understood." Others began to stir. One by one they emerged from the stillness. A police officer blinking in confusion. A teenager clutching her phone, now displaying a language she didn't recognize. An elderly man muttering words long dead in modern vocabulary. The fracture had passed. Reality resumed, different now, forever touched. Back in the tower, the girl watched as the network adjusted to the re-entry. The city now appeared stabilized. Its pulse merged with the wider web. She knew what came next. Others would reach out, Some would demand answers. Some would try to silence the messengers. Liam returned an hour later, quiet but resolute. They're scared. But they're listening, she gestured toward the array now forming connections to new locations, India, Brazil, Japan, Morocco. It's begun. The lattice recognizes others. You've triggered the cascade. A pause. What happens if it overwhelms them? He asked. Then we teach them to breathe through chaos. Earth's evolution would no longer be biological. It had entered the realm of thought. The universe had waited for humanity to stop looking outward and start listening inward. With memory reawakened, there was no turning back. Liam stepped beside her, both facing the vast cosmos beyond the platform. The stars blinked in acknowledgement. Behind them, systems adjusted to accommodate an awakening species. Before them, possibilities, unfolded with terrifying promise. No gods, he whispered. No saviors, she replied. Only choice. She nodded once, and echoes that remember.